Hello, welcome back. This is episode 4 of the light paper, January 2021 edition, orated. The link to the light paper will be in the description of this video, so please visit their website where you can access the paper for free, subscribe to get a paper copy, or access their forum as well. If you see episode 2, there are lots of links in that video where you can access all of these features. So the article we're reading today is this one, Faith to Keep Her Business Open by James Leggett. So without further ado, let's zoom in. Episode 3, by the way, is posted on my alternative channel, link also in the description. Faith to Keep Her Business Open by James Leggett. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, and you believe, you can move mountains. When Chris Starler took on a failing Christian bookshop in Nottingham, she never realised how personal the mantra of her new establishment would become. 25 years on, and her unwavering faith, plus the committed support of friends, has empowered the 69-year-old mother of 4 to make a stand against the government's lockdown orders, to boldly defy commands from police and council to shut up shop under the Coronavirus Act 2020, to shrug off seeing her good name and motivation smeared in the local press, to reject demands to pay over £17,000 in fines, and finally be forced from her business with the threat of a prison sentence. For daring to question her government and the motives behind its pandemic/panic attack on the nation's sanity and stability. For her conviction that there is a deeper spiritual dimension to current world events. For her calling to push back against what she sees as an oppressive and tyrannical power grab from the elite oligarch classes, disguised behind a virus smokescreen. During lockdown 1 on March the 15th, Chris begrudgingly closed the doors of her popular high street bookshop and tea room, the Mustard Seed, in the village of Gedling, Nottinghamshire. Although already suspicious of the government narrative, she followed the lead of the local churches and wider community. An ardent researcher on matters of spirituality and alternative health, she became increasingly suspicious of the developing news agenda. Making social media connections with like-minded people, she planned a regular meet-up at the bookshop once the doors reopened. On June the 15th, customers were permitted to return. For many, it couldn't come soon enough. Some suffered with mental health challenges or had little social interaction away from the tea room. Other local businesses hadn't weathered the first storm. Staff at nearby hairdressers' Roots would never smarten another head in there. Tales of financial, mental and physical problems from the lockdown were already being heard on the Gedling grapevine. A collective of 15 to 20 regulars found camaraderie through local activism and met weekly at the bookstore under the name Action for Freedom, committed to exploring alternative views largely kept hidden from the people of Nottingham. Chris reluctantly adapted to the brave new COVID world of track and trace, QR scanner codes, limiting customer numbers to enable social distancing and so on. While refusing it herself, she offered PPE equipment to her employees. She felt that something was hurting a small section of society, but recognised the statistical manipulation and ongoing misdiagnosis surrounding COVID cases. Takings had plummeted, but her unexpected calling to save this failing community hub had nothing to do with money. This is not the plague. You do not crash the entire economy like this. It has and will hurt so many more people, she said. Since when has our government cared so much about our health to do something so drastic? The second lockdown started on November the 5th. It was time to make a stand. She would remain open, business as usual, inspired by advice from knowledgeable people in common law and the support of her friends, regulars and locals. This small act of defiance slipped under the radar for several days, until she received an unwelcome visit from Nottinghamshire Police and Gedling Borough Council. on Friday the 13th. Around midday, several police and a senior council official showed up. Chris found their demeanour intimidating and patronising and gave them short shrift. The council officer presented her with a fine of £1,000 for breaching lockdown orders, and they left. While showering the following morning, the thought crossed her mind, I might go to prison today. A concern that she has since taken seriously. The packed bag she has prepared just in case is testament. But Chris is determined to see this through. There is nothing that her government can do to her that could compare with the pain of losing 2 beloved children to diseases no young child should suffer from. Her charming and fun-loving demeanour masked the tragedies of her own personal story, the trials that have made her so strong. Saturday the 14th started quietly. Regulars were deep in conversation. Chris was making soup. There was talk of a small group of freedom fighters marching in solidarity towards the mustard seed from an anti-lockdown event in the town centre, including a determined 84-year-old lady who struggled the 6-mile distance to show her support. Police were already waiting in Gedling and shadowing the protest march of some 20 people. At the shop, Chris was serving a relatively busy tea room when she was called to the front door. Again, the police were denied a conversation and permission to enter the premises. Distracted by her duties, Chris paid little attention to the group of supporters and interested locals gathered outside her shop. Unbeknownst to her, an intoxicated man began goading the police. He was soon strong-armed into a police transit van. A second man was arrested and also fined £200 for breaking lockdown demands. Neither man entered the shop and neither has been seen since. Disappointed to hear some suggest her stand was financially motivated, despite having never taken a wage in 25 years. On Monday, Chris opened her doors but decided to stop taking money. The council and police escort returned in the afternoon to serve 3 envelopes. They remain unopened, yet subsequent press reports suggest they contained fines totalling a further £16,000. Local activists used the shop on Tuesday to create flyers and posters to distribute. The windows were plastered with alternative information, including a scathing report on government lockdown decisions from the British Medical Journal. The mustard seed was closed as normal on Wednesday. Amusingly, the leader of the council recognised this in a letter to Chris, thanking her for seeing sense. You can only imagine his face after learning she had reopened the next day as usual. This triggered the authorities to change tack and escalate the situation. The police were granted a 3-month closure order under antisocial behaviour order legislation from the city's magistrates' courts. The suggestion being Chris's refusal to close would create a similar scene that ended in the Saturday arrests, despite this having nothing to do with her or her staff. Late on Thursday afternoon, a police officer was again refused entry and firmly told he was trespassing. Friday the 20th arrived and the authorities switched up a gear. They tried to confront Chris at her home, only leaving after knocking a neighbour's house to pass on the message they wanted to talk. Shortly after arriving home a few hours later, there was a second loud knock on the door. It was the police returning with the closure order noticed. Next, she discovered that the notice had been plastered across her shop windows and that her tenant, who was living above, had been questioned. As it stands, Chris is not allowed back into her shop until February, but the order suggests that the police and council can come and go as they please. Now facing a potential prison sentence under the ASBO legislation, she and her supporters have prepared their appeal and have taken time to pause, reflect and build their best legal defence. Chris said, "I don't want to be seen as some renegade. I want to do this properly, to make a stand for others who are suffering because of these evil directives. When I open again, I am staying open for all of the people who need me. This is a true walk of faith, and we will take one step at a time. This is a lot bigger than what happens to me or my shop. It's part of a wider spiritual battle that we must win. If people like me don't stand up against this tyranny, who will?" Wow. It reminds me actually of a local business who did the same, who defied the lockdowns and restrictions very courageously. Okay, so thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Next time I'll be reading this article. Quadrilla give up fracking licenses in Lancs. So until then, take care. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out the links in the description. And I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.